Welcome to Fear and Greed, the week ahead. I'm Sean Aylmer, and as always, I'm joined by economist Stephen Koukoulas. You'll find him at thekouk.com, THEKOUK.com, and on X using the handle TheKouk. Stephen, good morning.
And a good morning to you, Sean.
What a week last week was if you're interested in employment markets. Wow, all sorts of news, mostly good news, really, when it comes to the inflation front.
There was a lot of good news on that labour market side, starting with the wage numbers, because, of course, that's been a fear for the Reserve Bank and some others. Do we get that wage price spiral? But the news from the wage price index was that annual wages growth dropped to 3.5%, so down from 4.1. And dare I use the cliche, which I'm good at, the Goldilocks level of wages growth. So 3.5% annual wages growth. It's not too hot. It's not that inflation problem, not too cold. Workers are getting a bit of a pay rise, and particularly in the context of the 2.8% inflation reading, which we've got, it was a good result. It was one of those ones that if you were the central banker, the government, and even the union movement and employers, you'd be happy with a 3.5. So that was really in the groove to be celebrated, I suppose.
And then the unemployment figure of 4.1%. I mean, the labour market's still tight, using Michelle Bullock's term, but, well, I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking for a sort of a silver lining here.
Sean, do you know what? I had a little bit of a look at this number because it is a low result compared with history. Do you know that it's only been about 2 years in the last 50 that the unemployment rate's been lower than 4.1%? So it's an unusual thing. And yes, it's gone up from 3.5%, which we saw about a year and a half ago, as the economy has slowed down. Yes, it has. But if we can get through this current period of cost of living crisis, the interest rate tightening cycle, the inflation problems, and we have an unemployment rate that sort of stabilizes in the low fours, I still think we're more inclined to get to 4.5 than stay at 4.1. But yeah, just say I'm wrong and we get to 4.25 and we stay there, that is a great result. And, maybe, just maybe, the Reserve Bank might have got this one right.
Surely not. The other one I liked last week, I'm always going on about what a miserable bunch consumers are. Well, maybe they're just a little bit happier.
Well, it feeds into this real wage increase, doesn't it? Because the Consumer Sentiment Index jumped 5% in the month, and it's up 14% from that low point a couple of months ago. It's still a little bit on the pessimistic side. There's a few more pessimists than optimists, but there's been an incredible lift in consumer sentiment. And again, hard to pinpoint why we consumers are all of a sudden happy or sad or whatever the case may be. But my hunch is that when you've got real wages starting to increase, when you've seen things like the stock market, testing record highs over the last few weeks, and that's giving people a bit of wealth and confidence. You've just got this sort of situation where, real wage increasing. Oh, wealth's doing okay. Unemployment's low, so I've got a job and I'm not in that much fear of losing the job. Reasons to be cheerful, as Ian during the blockheads would say.
As during the blockheads would say. I like that. There's not a lot of information around, not a lot of new data this week, but it's almost time for a pause, only because we have got so much going on geopolitically and so much new information from the sort of local data as well. Kind of where are we up to, do you think, in terms of the local economy?
Oh, this last few weeks, there's been a flood of news. There's been central bank meetings left, right and centre. US presidential election, obviously huge result, and we're seeing that unfold. And of course, that'll take many, many months to unfold exactly what the new Trump administration is going to be doing. Well, they've got to be sworn in first. So there's a whole lot of issues going on around the world. But I think this pause this week, when there's not much new news domestically or internationally, is one where I think the markets have been exuberant. The stock market's booming. Bond markets have been, all over the place with this inflation fear from the tariffs from the US. A bit of a consolidation is not a bad thing. It's a chance for policymakers, us economists, to just sort of take a step back and think, well, where are we? As we said before, growth is still edging along. Inflation's low for the moment. There's a whole lot of policy prescriptions going on, so this consolidation and just a bit of a time out and pause and reflect on what's going on might not be a bad thing.
Stephen, enjoy your week.
Thank you, Sean.
That was economist Stephen Koukoulas, better known as The Kouk. You can find him at thekouk.com and follow him on X using the handle TheKouk. I'm Sean Aylmer, and this is Fear and Greed, the week ahead.